So this module was created 11 years ago when I started to do the Integral Relationship Life workshops. And very often I have single people in that workshop who don't know each other. And the topic of sexuality is, of course, vulnerable to most of us or all of us. And so the question was how do I approach this? And so this is like a 5-part exercise that we do that leads us to having a conversation around our sexuality to see at which one of the 5 stages of sexual expression or co-creation people can actualize or practice. And in the last module before, we talked about the 5 stages of spiritual development. And this stage means that most of us had peak experiences or sacred or tantric or transcendent sexual experiences that had like a spiritual nature, and we felt really transformed into a different dimension. But most people cannot recall or recreate these experiences by choice with a partner. But through practice, and of course, unlike spiritual peak experiences, we usually need another person to co-create that experience. It's rare to have it on our own without the partner also being really present and practice sacred or tantric sexuality. And that's why we call them stages, that we can move towards that. And these 5 stages, we'll look at it later in more detail. We call repressed sexuality, fucking in a very selfish, egocentric, unconscious way, having sex, making love, and transcendent, sacred, tantric sexuality as stage 5. And so I would just walk you through the meditation. The way we do this meditation is that in the workshop, or if participants are with a partner, is that they sit across from each other. And at the end of the meditation, they open their eyes and they look their partner into the left eye. And sometimes people ask me why the left eye. And for a long time, wrongly, I assumed that the left eye would be connected to the right brain hemisphere, which is not true, apparently. Some people said it's close to the left, to the heart. But the main reason is just to give instruction to focus on one eye so the eyes don't constantly go, back and forth. We want to be really focused. So if people have a preference for the right eye, that's just perfectly fine as well. And then at the end of the eye gazing part of the meditation, which in the workshop I do for 15 minutes, when I do it online, I do it 10 minutes. We will do it a little shorter because we're just silently staring into the camera. And I also invite people, specifically if they drift off into thought, to stay present with their breathing while they do the eye gazing. And I actually just count to 80 because that's 10 minutes. But it's not necessary to do that if you can stay present without counting, but it's a suggestion. And then, they're sitting across from each other. And then I ask the participants to move to each other's right side so that their thighs are touching, and they can look their partner again into the eyes or into the face by turning their head 45 degrees. So they're sitting next to each other, aligned. And from there, I lead them into the next exercise, which we will do. And then from there, they go into sharing, and then they go into the conversation around sexuality, because at that point, even if they're strangers, they already been usually for a day in the workshop, but maybe they never did an exercise together. By the time, through eye gazing and this process of the meditation and what follows, there is oxytocin released, and there is a certain trust and connection established that then allows them to be more open and vulnerable, which requires trust, right? And non-judgmental and getting beyond shame that is established, so that often they have a conversation that they're really surprised that, or they would say they would not have had without the meditation and what precedes that. I usually begin my meditations by asking people to put their hands on their belly and to relax their abdomen, and to see if they, when they take a deep breath, if their hands are moving or if their abdomen is moving. Which is in general a very good practice to relax the mind and relax the body. And of course, in sacred tantric sexuality, the breath plays an important role in creating connection between the lovers. And then just listen to the sound of the bell, rising out of the silence or background noise and then fading back into stillness. And as you listen to the bell, become still yourself. And if you haven't done so yet, lower your gaze or close your eyes. And bring your focused attention into your physical body. Wiggle your toes a little bit. Feel the pillow, the chair, the floor, the back check. Whatever supports your body in this moment, feel this connection with the earth. And feel into the gravitational force between your body and the earth, all the way down to the center of the earth, holding you firmly grounded, connected. And then relax your feet and your legs. And if a meditation is new for your participants, the people you're working with, you may invite them to flex their thighs, their muscles there, and hold it for 5 seconds. And then release the tension, getting a good sense between the difference of a dense muscle and a relaxed muscle. And then relax your abdomen so that it gently rises and falls with every in and out breath. Take back your shoulders a little bit and open your heart chakra, releasing any barrier that you may feel around your heart. And radiate love to the heart of your partner across from you. And receive his or her love. Feel the heart connection. Knowing that this is a perfectly safe space. The V space that you're creating between the two of you. in which you can be vulnerable, open, without fear of being judged or shamed or laughed at or rejected. And then relax your shoulders, your arms, and your hands. And turn your head a little bit to the left and right and front and back. And find that perfect balancing point for your head on top of your spine. So that you can feel from your mind, from your awareness into your body, and allowing it to relax. And also notice sensations from your body in your awareness, which is often referred to as the body-mind connection. And finally, relax every muscle in your face and release any tension that you may hold in your jaw. And when your face and your jaw is fully relaxed, then your lips will slightly open, slightly part. And now with every in and out breath, bring more and more of your focused attention in the here and now, into your physical body. Noticing any tension you may still hold in your feet, your legs, your abdomen, around your chest, your shoulders, arms, hands, your face and jaw. And as you become fully present with your body, you may awaken to the realization that is witnessing conscious self that is aware of your body is not your body. You have a body, you inhabit your body. Your body is this wonderful vehicle through which you experience the world, move around in the world, and also express your sexuality. After all, we may say we are sexual beings having a human experience. And as you awaken to this witnessing consciousness, you can release any fear or shame around your sexuality, or at least begin to heal any trauma you may have experienced. Feeling into your second chakra below your belly button, where your sex organs are located. Release any kind of blockage, any kind of closedness. And this awakening also allows you to take care of your body through healthy eating and exercise, sufficient sleep, meditation, body work, maybe yoga, and medication as necessary. Because with a healthy body, we can express our sexuality more authentically. Besides all the other benefits that taking care of our body has. And now that you're fully present with your body, I invite you to take 10 conscious, natural, relaxed, in and out belly breaths, feeling the air flowing in and out of your nostrils. And your relaxed belly gently rising and falling. And if your mind drifts off into thought about the past or the future, taking you out of this present moment, gently bring it back to your conscious in and out breathing. And when we practice conscious lovemaking or sacred transcendental tantric sexuality, being able to stay present with our own and our partners in and out breath, connecting the 7 chakras through breathing and opening them is an essential practice. So this preliminary practice of staying present with our breathing, ideally for 160 in and out breaths, is very helpful to later create sexual intimacy and bliss and transcendental experiences. And now that you're present with your breath, with your in and out breathing, I invite you to watch your mind waiting for the next thought to arise. Like a cat is watching a mouse hole, waiting for the mouse to stick out its head. And if a thought arises, gently release it, Don't follow it along into the past or future. Don't feed it with new thought. And use your body and your in and out breathing to come back to the present moment. And just wait and see if a new thought arises. That takes you out of this present moment awareness. And again, use your body, the connection with earth and your breathing to find the stillness in present moment awareness. And you will awaken to the realization that you are not your mind. You are not your thoughts. And this allows you to become fully present with your partner when you make love, when you practice sacred sexuality. Because the greatest gift we can give another person is our full presence. Without forming thoughts or being in the past or future. And it allows you to express your feelings, your desires, your fantasies, also your healthy boundaries around your sexuality in the moment. And release past trauma and shame and fear and negative self-talk. And instead just be fully present, vulnerable, open. And as you strengthen this witnessing consciousness that is aware of thought or no thought, you may drop into an experience that has been often referred to as a vertical drop or an awakening experience. Where you experience a profound sense of peace, of surrender, of allowing everything to arise as it is in the moment. Of connectedness, of oneness, of love and joy. In a deep sense of aliveness and gratitude for being alive in this moment. And gratitude for being in the presence of your partner, the loving connection, and the ability to deepen your oneness, your union, your love, your connection, and your presence through your bodies and your sexuality. And when you have this experience of awakening, of enlightenment that so many spiritual seekers are seeking, spiritual teachers are pointing to, there may be a realization that even this experience arises from a ground of all being, or source, or God, or spirit, that is not separate from anything that arises, the manifest or unmanifest. It is that out of which the illusionary nature of time and space arises, or light emanates from. It is infinite and eternal, timeless and spaceless. It has never been born, never entered the stream of time, will never die, knows no pain of the past or fear of the future. And as it is not separate from any experience, it cannot be talked about, thought about. It is the witness that cannot witness itself, because that would make it into two. Or the subject that cannot be made into an object. And then when the sound of the bell fades into silence, gently open your eyes and look your partner into the left eye. And as mentioned earlier, we do this for about 10-15 minutes in the workshop. And then if you do this with your partner, I invite you to move silently next to each other and look your partner in the eyes. And then if the partner with the shorter hair gets permission from the partner with the longer hair to hold his or her hand between his or her hands, and if that's okay for you, then reach out with your right hand so that your partner can hold it, or if you're by yourself, just hold your own hand. And feel this hand. Is it warmer or colder, softer or harder, smaller or larger? How does this hand feel between your hands? And then turn the hand so that you can see the palm of the hand. And take a look at the palm. See the unique lines, the unique fingerprints. And realize that there never has been a hand like this, exactly like this before, and never will be. It's something completely unique. The amazing ability of nature to create all this uniqueness. And some people may even see the future in the lines of the hand, the fortune tellers. And then with your partner's permission, gently begin to stroke the hand of your partner. And if you're by yourself, just stroke your right hand with your left hand. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Relax your body. And allow this gentle, loving, unconditional, non-sexual human touch to reach every cell in your body. And if you give this gift of touch, offer it as gently, slowly, lovingly as you can, honoring this hand, honoring your partner. And if you receive this touch, let it reach every cell in your body. Keep breathing, stay present. And receiving human touch is really important for our well-being. Even ourselves get lonely if we don't receive enough touch, enough connection with other human being. So this is the time to allow yourself to be touched, knowing that there is nothing you need to do in return. It's a gift that is unconditional, loving, honoring you, one human being to another. And then if you give this touch, just think for a moment what this hand may have done in its life that it has never been appreciated for, recognized for. It may have planted a tree that now gives shade and provides a habitat for other creatures. It may have taken a child that was lost on its hand, a child that was scared and crying, and brought it back to its parents, caretakers. May have provided healing touch to a human being in pain. May have held a newborn baby, welcoming it into this world that was maybe scary at the beginning. May have prepared a meal for people who were hungry. May have provided comforting touch to a dying person, helping him or her in the transition. May have played a musical instrument or painted a painting, written a love letter, all of which brought joy to other people. There's so many things that his hand may have done in its life. And now we say thank you. Thank you for everything you've done with this hand, with your hands. And then gently turn the hand around, look at the back of the hand, and ever so softly, slowly, tenderly, lovingly stroke the back of this hand, honoring. And if you receive this touch, keep breathing, stay present. And then slowly bring this loving touch to a close. Hold your partner's right hand between your hands. Look each other into the eyes. And say a nonverbal thank you for allowing me to giving you this touch. Thank you for giving me this gift of loving, unconditional, non-sexual touch. And then you may share a hug. And if you're by yourself, you can just give yourself a hug. If you're with your partner, share a hug with your partner. Feel the connection between your bodies, the aliveness, the warmth, the comfort, the safety of feeling this connection with another human being. Feel your heart connection. And then you may whisper a few loving, kind words into your partner's ears. Thank you for your gentle touch. Thank you for allowing me to give you the gift of unconditional touch. Thank you for your openness, your trust. Thank you for being here with me right now. Thank you for being vulnerable and open and trusting. Which I'm longing so deeply in my heart to feel this deep connection with another human being. Thank you for respecting my boundaries. Thank you for listening, hearing me, caring. Thank you for your love. Thank you for opening your heart. And thank you for your presence, creating this safe, free space between the two of us. I love you. I honor you. And I'm grateful that we doing this practice together. To love unconditionally and to relate more authentically, including our sexuality. Thank you. And then the couple will do the same with the other partner, stroking his or her hand and doing another hug. And then I invite them to share their experience during the meditation, during the eye gazing and the hand stroking and the hugging. And then they get a piece of paper, which we do virtually here, with questions around their sexuality. And I'll put them into the chat window. Once I find them, here they are. 15 questions. And then there is a little theory part at the end. And first of all, in integral sexuality, we bring all 4 dimensions of our being into the lovemaking, into our sexuality very consciously. So we're not only focusing on the physical body here in the upper right, which is the obvious, but also share our presence, bring in our feelings, our desires, maybe our fears, anything that has to do with the mind. As David Schnarch wrote in the book Passionate Marriage, our biggest sex organ is actually the brain. And very often there are barriers in our psyche, in our being, that is of course connected to the body. Right? We often feel first some pulling back or some closeness or some shame in the body, and then we want to bring in the mind. And for lovemaking, the 3rd, 4th, and 5th stage of tantric sacred sexuality, it can also be very helpful to have a warm, conducive environment. That's why I put the external physical environment here, a room with candles and probably incense and music and soft sheets, and just having a really nice environment for lovemaking, but whatever floats your boat, right? As long as it is consensual and both of you enjoy it, can be in nature or in the car, on the kitchen table, whatever people prefer. It's just one suggestion. And what's probably the hardest spot is our cultural conditioning around sexuality, right? There may be certain customs or, who initiates, and certain limitations that we may want to break through. And also, of course, the we space, and how do we communicate, where is our shared values, our shared understanding around our sexuality. And then here are descriptions of the 5 stages or state stages. So the first one is repressed sexuality, which can be a low libido based on certain hormonal genetic predispositions. So there's quite a variety that how people experience their libido, or through certain traumatic sexual experiences, usually in early childhood, where people are so traumatized that they really struggle to express their sexuality in a healthy way. Then we have the very general term of fucking, which is different from what David Ada called ravaging, right? There can, of course, be some form of consensual, very present, uninhibited sexual expression. This is not what we mean here. Here, this is when we're very disconnected from our partner. There's often not even a conversation about what does it mean if we become sexual, maybe conversation around contraception and STD. So it's like a very unconscious way of just having our releasing our sexual urges, being taken over by sexual desire, and not having any real connection with the partner. Then the having sex stage is what I call sex at a lowest common denominator, or something that couples do. And so this is usually begins like there's only sex if both partners are in the mood, and there are usually a lot of boundaries there where sexual expression is like takes only place at a level where both partners have agreement, which is of course in general important to have these boundaries. But here there's usually not a further exploration, and couples, it's often not very long, and yeah, it gets boring over time, and it's just a, sort of like more a duty in a relationship than really a deeper enjoyment. And then the making love stage emerges when sexuality becomes a genuine expression of a loving, healthy relationship. And here the couples don't wait until they're both in the mood. They know that sexuality is an important part of their well-being, their connection, deepening their love, and they know how to bring themselves in the mood. They make time, they maybe engage in activities that get them into the mood, maybe exchanging a massage or taking a bath together, and have a nice room for expressing their sexuality. If they have children, maybe they can have some other people watch them, maybe the grandparents. So they really have creating a sacred time and a sacred space to express their love through their sexuality. And then the sacred transcendent sexuality is where sexuality, in addition to the love making, also extends into a spiritual practice of having heightened stage experiences of spiritual transcendence or union, and which is usually referred to as tantric practices. And so we have movement and breathing into the chakras, meditating together, tantric massage, ecstatic dancing, etc., etc. And the way how we arrange these 5 stages of sexual expression or co-creation is similar to the Wilbur-Combs matrix of spiritual state stages. So along the top, we have the repressed, the fucking, the having sex, the making love, and the sacred transcendental sexuality. And on the left side, we have the stages of consciousness development. And what we see then here is the insight that people at earlier levels of consciousness development, let's say at the magic, egocentric, or mythic level, or at any level, can advance in their spiritual expression and co-creation to the making love and the sacred sexuality stage, and then interpret their sexual experience and maybe the practices from their particular level of consciousness. While at the same time, somebody could be at the integral or transpersonal stage of consciousness development and be in a repressed stage of sexual expression. Or if we think of, let's say, the Dalai Lama or other people who are celibate for religious reasons or other reasons, they can be quite highly developed in their consciousness and even in their spiritual expression. And we basically don't know what kind of sexual expression they would find, but it's definitely possible. And the same is true, let's say, for a tantrika or a shamanistic practitioner at the magic level or any other level. Some tantric groups may be very mythic, etc., etc. And so in co-creating a relationship, an integral relationship, it is, of course, desirable to be with a partner who is at a similar level of consciousness development and sexual expression and ability to co-create. And so here is how this then integrates with the personality matrix, where we have the levels of consciousness development and the feminine masculine polarities, and then the spiritual 5 stages, and then here we have the 5 stages of sexual development. And then in module number 14, we're going to explore the anima-animus complex. And then here are the resources for this module. There's several books for the different stages. And there's also this movie Bliss, where we see a lot of the stage 4 and potentially moving into 5 of transcendental sex, but also about sexual healing and trauma. So it's a bit of a complex movie around that. So this is this module. And then finally, a final word here about monogamy and non-monogamy. So it has become somewhat common in modern and postmodern communities to call every form of non-monogamy polyamorous. And people say, oh, I'm polyamorous. And I then, if I know them a little better, I ask, what does that really mean? And very often they just mean other forms of non-monogamy, like having an open relationship, or don't ask, don't tell, or swinging, or and so this is kind of like a bit of tongue-in-cheek, but I still think very interesting image or graphic that Franklin Vo created, not my creation, where we see different forms of non-monogamy, of which polyamory is only one. And the original meaning of polyamory or intention was that if there is a primary couple, then one of them falls in love with another person, that before the concept of polyamory, there were basically only the option of splitting up, cheating, or not following the desire to express the love with the other person, possibly also in a sexual way. And the advancement here is that all 3 people then are involved in the relationship, and the secondary relationship, as they call it, not to diminish the love, but is in support of the primary relationship, to deepen basically the loving connection between the primary couple through the additional person. And that's often, when people say they're polyamorous, they have some kind of other arrangements. And so that's not in the spirit of the original idea.